Sunny Hostin and her husband have been accused of committing federal insurance fraud in a lawsuit. If you average out the View hosts, they are among the dumbest people on television. Sunny is certainly not the brightest person, and what she just said doesn't make any sense. It's just so silly to say. Sunny Hostin's name has definitely been in the spotlight lately, and not for the best reasons. We all know why, right? Aside from being famous for speaking her mind on The View, she's now making headlines for some serious accusations, especially with her husband facing charges in what looks like a full-blown RICO operation. It's been one blow after another for Sunny. To make things worse, she might be looking at an arrest after the cops raided their home and found a whole lot of cash just piling up. So how did it all come to this? Well, I've got the juicy details, so stick around till the end to find out how this story unfolds. Let Sunny get in here. I agree with mostly everything that's been said. We know that only about 31% of Americans trust our healthcare system. We have a terrible healthcare system, and doctors suffer because of big corporations as well, doctors who want to do good, like my husband, operate on someone even though they don't have insurance and then have to sue health insurance companies to get paid for the work that they've been trained their whole life to do. If you haven't been keeping up with this mess, let me break it down for you. Dr. Emmanuel Hostin, along with nearly 200 others, has been slapped with a lawsuit by American Transit, a major insurance company. The accusations? Fraud, kickbacks, and shady billing schemes that allegedly went on for years. The lawsuit claims he performed unnecessary surgeries and submitted fake insurance claims, all while raking in undisclosed payments. Legal experts are calling this the biggest RICO case in New York since the mafia era. Yeah, that big. But here's where things get even juicier. Sunny Hostin herself is now caught in the legal fire. And let's be real, Sunny is no stranger to controversy. She's built her career on discussing hot-button issues, yet now she's claiming she had no idea what was happening in her own husband's business. If that's the case, maybe she should rethink her job as a commentator because she's clearly missing some major red flags. According to the lawsuit, this isn't just about one doctor gone rogue. This is an organized fraud ring exploiting New York's no-fault insurance laws. Dr. Hostin is accused of providing bogus medical services, including unnecessary surgeries, all while cashing in big. And here's where it gets even worse. Under RICO laws, damages can be tripled, meaning this lawsuit could balloon into billions. But money might be the least of his worries because if convicted, he could be looking at life in prison. And the fallout isn't just hitting Emmanuel. Sunny isn't walking away clean either. Rumors are swirling that she might have played a role in covering up the alleged fraud, possibly even moving money around to keep it hidden from investigators. When you take a closer look at Sunny's past, the irony becomes clear. Before becoming a media personality, she was a federal prosecutor, someone who built a career on upholding the law. Yet now, whispers suggest she may have used that very legal expertise to help her husband cover up financial fraud. One report claims Sunny helped Emmanuel funnel money through shell companies using legal loopholes to keep transactions off the radar. Another suggests she even acted as a middleman, making sure the cash stayed untraceable. But here's where it gets even wilder. Dr. Hostin wasn't just scamming insurance companies, he was allegedly targeting taxi drivers, Uber drivers, and Lyft drivers, performing unnecessary surgeries and fake medical procedures just to cash in big. And that's not even the worst part. The biggest issue here? The blatant contradiction between Sunny's public persona and these allegations. On The View, she's been a loud critic of corruption, always demanding accountability, always calling out the mistreatment of power. She's positioned herself as a truth-teller, someone who fights for justice, yet now she's being accused of doing exactly what she's spent years condemning. Critics are eating this up, pointing out the hypocrisy, and honestly, if even a fraction of these allegations hold weight, this might be the scandal that ends Sunny Hostin's career for good. Sunny Hostin, who I think is truly the nastiest woman on television and a genuine racist, not that bright despite her law degree and everything else, people aren't holding back. Some are demanding that Sunny step down from The View, arguing that her credibility as a commentator is now in the gutter. After all, how can she sit there and criticize politicians and public figures when she's allegedly been covering up illegal activities in her own home? Others, however, are saying we should pump the brakes, reminding everyone that these are just allegations for now and that Sunny deserves the presumption of innocence. But let's be honest, the court of public opinion has never been known for its patience, and right now, things aren't looking good. And it's not just online backlash she has to worry about. Legal experts are warning that if investigators find even a shred of evidence tying her to her husband's alleged fraudulent activities, she could face serious charges herself. And let's not sugarcoat it, if that happens, she won't just be dealing with a PR disaster. We're talking prison time, financial devastation, and the total collapse of everything she's worked for. But wait, it gets even messier. There are now serious questions about how Sunny and Emmanuel really funded their lifestyle. While they've never been the type to show off their wealth, reports suggest they own multiple high-end properties, including a luxurious home in Westchester County. And now, people are asking the big question, was any of this funded by fraudulent money? Were they living a life of comfort at the expense of innocent victims? And here's where things take another twist. According to reports, American Transit, the insurance company at the center of the case, has accused Sunny of using her celebrity status to sway public opinion and discredit the lawsuit against her husband. Basically, they are saying she's been leveraging her platform to spin the narrative in her favor. And Sunny? She's not having it. In a fiery statement, she clapped back, accusing the insurance company of a smear campaign against her and her family. She insists this lawsuit is nothing more than a desperate attempt to avoid paying out legitimate claims. As if that wasn't enough, the Hostins weren't just relying on words. They had a legal team ready to take action. Mark Giragos, their attorney, fired off a letter to American Transit on Sunday, January 12, threatening a massive $5 million countersuit if the insurance company didn't withdraw their case and apologize. According to Giragos, the $5 million wasn't even the final figure, it was just an initial amount because the reputational damage caused by the lawsuit was difficult to quantify at this time. But critics aren't buying it. They argue that Sunny's aggressive response is nothing more than a smokescreen, a way to shift the focus from the very serious allegations against her husband and now potentially against her. And let's be real, this isn't just some minor legal dispute. The accusations against Emmanuel are federal insurance fraud, the kind of case that can ruin careers, destroy reputations, and land people behind bars. And that's where things get really messy. With 200 defendants named in the case, this legal battle isn't going away anytime soon. It's expected to drag on for years with endless discovery processes, court filings, and legal maneuvers. Every single defendant will likely try to distance themselves from the allegations, creating a tangled web of finger-pointing, shifting alliances, and conflicting testimonies. Now, while this is pretty ironic to consider, just a few months ago, Sunny was out here throwing some major shade at Melania Trump. Remember when Melania became First Lady for the second time? Well, during a live broadcast, the ladies on The View really went in on her. But here's where it got real juicy. Sunny outright suggested that Melania wasn't all that happy in her marriage to Donald Trump. As you can see, the critique extended to her personal life, her White House redesigns were mocked, and her Christmas traditions were dragged. And now, Melania is hitting back hard with a $100 million defamation lawsuit. That's not chump change, folks. Attacks on her dignity. Now, this isn't the first time Sunny Hostin has stirred the pot with her comments. In fact, she's no stranger to controversy. Remember the time she offended millions by calling out uneducated white women for their voting patterns? She pointed to the statistic that 52% of them supported Trump, and as you can imagine, it didn't sit well with a lot of people. But Sunny didn't stop there. She doubled down, praising black women for their pivotal role in elections, saying, "Black women tried to save this country again last night," while hailing Kamala Harris's campaign as flawless. What we did not have is white women who voted about 52%, right, for Donald Trump. Uneducated white women is my understanding. You have Latino men actually voting more for him. And if you thought Sunny was done with the drama, think again. She wasn't finished stirring the pot just yet. Not long after, she went on a fiery rant about Latino men voting for Trump in higher numbers, calling the outcome even harder to process. Bold? You bet. Her remarks set the internet on fire, but it wasn't the warm, fuzzy kind of fire. This was more like a blazing wildfire with opinions on both sides of the debate. Supporters rallied behind her, applauding her for speaking out on something they felt needed to be said. But of course, not everyone was on board. Critics accused her of sowing divisiveness, with some even going as far as labeling her comments as racist. Trump supporters? Oh, they were livid. They felt like Sunny had painted them in a bad light, unfairly accusing them of things they didn't support. The fallout was massive, and the internet was split right down the middle, with everyone taking sides. But wait, the plot thickens. When The View aired its post-election episode, the mood was unmistakably heavy. Whoopi Goldberg and Joy Behar walked in dressed in all black like they were attending a political funeral. It was almost as if they were mourning the election results. Whoopi, ever the queen of shade, refused to even say Trump's name, while Joy, well, she wasn't holding back. She bluntly stated she vehemently disagreed with the outcome. That episode felt less like a talk show and more like a political eulogy, somber faces, impassioned speeches, and a whole lot of fiery commentary. So, what happened last night? Anybody doing anything interesting? Okay, the 2024 presidential race ended yesterday, and this is what the country and the world woke up to this morning. Take a look. Now, if you thought the drama with Sunny Hostin had cooled off, think again, because it's heating up all over again. In a recent episode of The View, Sunny found herself at the center of yet another controversy, and this time she set her sights on none other than Senator John Fetterman. Yep, you heard that right, the View drama train never seems to run out of fuel. If you've been following the show, you know it's practically a battleground for fiery debates and unfiltered commentary. Bold statements and polarizing opinions, they're practically the show's brand at this point. But this time, Sunny might have bitten off more than she could chew, at least, that's what Senator Fetterman seems to think. He's clearly not letting her comments slide. So, what sparked this latest firestorm? Well, Sunny didn't hold back when she went in on Fetterman's controversial visit to Mar-a-Lago. Yep, the Democratic senator decided to pay a visit to Trump's Florida estate, and you can bet that raised some eyebrows. I mean, come on, a Democrat stepping foot in Trump's turf? That's like walking into a lion's den dressed in a steak suit. The visit alone had people talking, but Sunny's commentary turned the heat all the way up. She didn't just criticize the visit, she went all in, calling it a betrayal of democratic principles and questioning Fetterman's motives. For many, those words struck a chord, but definitely not in a good way. Fetterman's camp wasn't exactly thrilled about being called out, and on social media? Well, it absolutely exploded. Opinions were flying everywhere, with some defending Sunny's right to speak her mind and others accusing her of stirring the pot and being unnecessarily divisive. Let me ask you this though, since Trump's win, there's been a lot of soul-searching on the Democratic side, people needing answers on what went wrong. Do you think that is helpful? And do you think there should also be some soul-searching on the Republican side, who need to analyze why they would nominate a convicted felon who ran on lies, threats of retribution, and concepts of a plan? And her drama didn't stop there. She found herself in yet another heated moment, and this time it was right in the middle of The View, live on air, no less. What started as a panel discussion quickly turned into an explosive showdown between Sunny and her co-host Alyssa Farah Griffin. It all went down on the June 7th episode, and let's just say, the tension was palpable. The ladies were deep in political debate, something that's always bound to get intense. But this time, things took a dramatic turn when the topic of the 2024 presidential race came up. With names like Mike Pence and Chris Christie entering the race, the conversation got heated, especially between Alyssa, one of the few Republicans on the panel, and the rest of the hosts. Sunny wasted no time calling out Alyssa for what she saw as a major flip-flop. She pointed out that Alyssa had previously criticized Pence, yet now she was defending him. That's when the sparks really started flying. The tension between the two grew so thick that the conversation quickly spiraled into a full-on shouting match. Alyssa was caught off guard, asking for a chance to speak, but Sunny just kept firing off her points, leaving Alyssa visibly frustrated. You are incapable of defending a man that you worked for. I don't need to hear more from Pence for several reasons. When I lived in Indiana and I went to Notre Dame, he had a terrible approval rating because of the way he treated the AIDS crisis. A lot of people died because of him. A lot of people died because of how he handled the COVID crisis. Are you going to give me a chance to? Truth. This is not what the show is about. I kind of feel like I need to go to break right now. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. Some people were accusing Sunny of acting like a narcissist, arguing that she only listened to her own opinion because she's a lawyer and thought her perspective was the only valid one. And while many might agree that she was firmly in the wrong during this argument, it's hard to ignore that she didn't really give Alyssa a chance to speak or share her thoughts. It wasn't just about political disagreements, it seemed like Sunny wasn't listening to Alyssa at all. Some fans even went as far as to say that Sunny's attitude bordered on bullying. They felt that she dominated the conversation, cutting Alyssa off and making it nearly impossible for her to get a word in. It was uncomfortable to watch, especially since it felt less like a debate and more like a one-sided attack. Now, with all the drama surrounding Sunny and her husband, it's starting to look like The View might be preparing to cut ties with her. There are rumors circulating that network executives are closely monitoring the situation, trying to gauge just how much damage this scandal could do to the show's reputation. While Sunny is still appearing on air for now, viewers have definitely noticed a shift in her demeanor. The energy she once brought to the show feels different, and many are wondering if this could be the beginning of the end for her time on The View. With every twist and turn in the story, it's looking more and more like the host's reality may not align with the version they've been so carefully crafting. And if it turns out that Sunny is more deeply involved than she's letting on, will it be enough to shake her credibility completely? The potential fallout, for The View, for her family, and for her career, is staggering.